Hi. In this video, we're going to learn about how to load and query semi-structured data from Amazon Redshift. So this video, I'm going to enable you with a deep dive into this particular topic. So what we're going to do is we're going to use an example JSON file so that you see here. So this is a semi-structured JSON data. So when we say JSON file, it is nothing but it's an example semi-structured data. So we're going to use this sample data and try to learn how to load the data into the Amazon Redshift cluster and then also query the data from this JSON file, and then also load the data into the Amazon Redshift cluster. So that is what we're going to learn in this lab session. So as part of this particular lab, what I did is I have already created a namespace and work group, which is nothing but Amazon Redshift cluster only. Right now, Amazon is offering serverless flavors. So that's the reason this is the cluster we are going to use in this lab session to try to learn this loading, querying the semi-structured data into the Redshift cluster. So I'm going to open the query editor 2 option. So it will take me to another tab where we can try to understand and work around these semi-structured data. So example file that we're going to work is this is the file we're going to work it or basically use in this lab session. That was the introductory. So here, when I open this query editor 2 option, basically this is the inbuilt query editor option from Amazon Redshift. So we're going to use that. Okay. So here when I open, you can see in the left hand side there is a serverless work group. So this is our Redshift work group. So within that Redshift work group, we have a database called dev. So within the database dev, we have a schema public. So within the schema, we're going to create a table and try to learn how to work with the semi-structured data in the Amazon Redshift cluster, right? So as part of that, I have a list of queries here. So these queries will enable you to learn how to use a JSON file and then load it, update it, basically do all those CRUD operations against the Amazon Redshift cluster, right? So with that said, what we do is, as I showed you the sample data, first let's try to create the first table basically, and we're going to use that table to load it, right? So first let's try to create a table to store this JSON file data. So to do that, I'm going to create or basically execute this particular tsql command. This is similar to a SQL command, but little bit of changes here and there. So command is very simple here. That is basically, if you see here, that is drop table. You can use small letter or caps letter, that is fine. I'm just retyping so that you get it very clear. So drop table if exist basically, right? And then go for a next command, that is to create a table. So we're going to create a table with a name called transactions. All right. So this is the command we're going to use it, and then we are passing like a data type equal to JSON, and it will be a super type of data. So I'm going to, when I run this particular command, what happens is it's going to create a table here. You see that looks like it has gone green because if there were some errors, so it's going to show some errors. And query runtime is 14 milliseconds as well. So if I refresh it, we should see a table here, and that is how basically we're going to create a table for this particular lab session. So if I open this one, we should have a table right now. So this is the transaction table. So basically the data that we have here is basically some business transaction data, and which is basically very semi-structured and very complex data. We want to load it in a right format into the Amazon Redshift cluster so that we can use it for data warehousing and then reporting, AI, ML, a lot of things. Now, right, so now I want to load this particular JSON file directly into my this table, that is transaction table, right? That is, I said it's a business transaction data, right? So for that one, we are running a command called copy to the table transaction from where. So basically, the URL I have showed here, right? So that is the exact URL I'm using. So this is the URL we're going to use it. All right. So that is nothing but this path. Yeah. So that is an S3 path. So I'm passing that S3 path here. If you see, that is this is basically internet available data, an S3 bucket shared by my Amazon or basically AWS to learn the Redshift cluster. So we are using that URL. Uh, no worries, I'm going to share this SQL command file in the video description. You can try to use it and learn how to interact with the Redshift cluster. So and then we are passing the IAM role that has access on the Amazon S3 bucket first thing, and then the it also has the full access basically on the AWS account. So this is the IAM role. I'm going to show you that as well. So before I go here, if we go to the work group, and then we go to the security, so we're going to see that. So let me go to the namespace, and then we go to the security. So if I go to the here, and then so we need to go to the namespace probably. So go to the namespace and then security and encryptions. Right, so we are in the namespace. To this namespace, I have attached an IAM role, and the IAM role name is called ETL Lambda Access Role. So if I open that role, you're going to get what is that basically doing. So it is an admin role, and this role is trusted by Redshift cluster. So that's what I wanted to show you. So it has a full access. If you see here, there are a lot of access. So probably since we are dealing with the two services, make sure that you have full access on Amazon services, and then the Redshift cluster. Probably those are all the two least privileged configuration that you can do it. Then go to the trust relationship. If you see that this role is trusted by Redshift. So we have a Redshift dot Amazon AWS.com. So this is a service trusting this particular role, right? So that's the reason we can use that from the query editor. So query editor is nothing but it's a extension part of the Amazon Redshift cluster, a extension capability of Amazon Redshift cluster, right? So and then region. So this bucket is kept in US East region. So that likewise, and the JSON equal to non-shredding. So here we are setting as a non-shredding, and that's all about the command. So when I run this command, you see that it's going to load that heavy data that we have seen here. So this is a very huge data, and it got loaded in a fraction of seconds. It loaded in 2 seconds. So do you want to check whether it is loaded or not? So yes, of course you can check it by running this command. So I just wanted to load everything in front of you. So I run this command. You see that it has a 5 records. Why 5 records? Because this is a JSON format, so it converted into 5 objects or five the 5 keys there in that particular JSON. So those keys are been added as a records. But I wanted to run this query. That is, if you see here, that is a select star from. So this is select star from this particular table, and then limit to this particular bucket here. So when I run this particular command, what happens is it's gonna get the latest one. So it's equivalent to whatever we see in the tsql command. Now, so just now we have verified that the JSON data is loaded. Now we go to the next one. So basically, the next command is take a note of the the record count. So how many record counts we have here. So that is something if you want to check it. So that is where we're going to use a count command here. So let's see. So basically, let's no, it's not a serial. It's a select. So select count one from this particular. In the sense, what we are doing is um, so how many records are there in a particular transaction, right? A particular record. So that is what we are doing it here. When I run this command, so let's see how many records it does show. So it shows that it's plainly says 5 accounts because it had a 5 rows basically. Right. Yeah. Then we go to the next one. That is basically now we're going to write a query which will extract the customer related attributes, right? So the 5 records that we have inserted into this particular table, that has the the customer related information. So we want to get those informations from the particular table. So to do that, we have to do certain command tricks, and that is what the next command is all about. So that is to select basically select from the table, right? Select the data JSON. So data JSON is nothing but it is the key within the particular record. Okay, and from that record, there's a nesting here because it's a JSON data. So there's a nesting here. From that nesting, we're gonna ask for a keyword called C underscore customer key. That is nothing but since we are querying the customer related attributes, right? And the records that is stored here is a JSON format. So this is how basically we are extracting it. So here is a data JSON, get the phone number of the customer, then they know the account table balance like that. from where we are getting from the table. So that's simple, it is all about, right? So I'm just making it as a caps letter so that you understand it, right? And then when I'm going to run this particular command, so we're going to get this information. So you see that from all the 5 records, we got the customer data. So we got a customer keys and the customer phone number and the customer balance, like that. Okay, it's very example data. This is nothing belongs to any running application, or business running application, right? So with that, we're going to go to the next command. So what is the next command we're going to try is, if you see here, it has returned the phone number which contains a double quote. So when it contains a double quotes, it is not a valid information. So we want to make it a little bit massage around this data, and try to retrieve the very accurate information, right? Exact to the certain data types. In the sense, the data the column returns, it should be a certain data types. Could be int, could be varchar, could be decimal, like that. So that's the reason we're gonna do certain thing here, that is basically from this field, we're gonna query and convert the data into directly types, likewise. Yeah. So what we're gonna do is, the command remains same. Whatever command that we executed above will remain same, but in front of that, if you see here, we are passing colon colon and then int type. So what, to which data you want to convert that? That is, I want to convert this customer key into integer and the customer phone number into varchar, and then the balance to a decimal, right? And that is what we're gonna do with this command. So I'm gonna convert that as well, right? So when I run this command, hopefully it will do the cleanup. That is, it's gonna remove this particular double quotes and it's gonna give the exact data. So earlier it was the customer key was in a different data types. Now the data type we converted that into an integer, and the data type of phone we converted that into a varchar. Because why varchar? You see that there is a hyphen, right? Or else it would have been a int itself. And then we have account balance, which is a decimal. Why decimal? Because yes, the financial information will be always in the decimals, right? Now we did a little bit of thing about the data, that is, we inserted, we queried, we massaged, right? Now we're going to do something similar to the similar to whatever we have done, but at a JSON format level. So when we read the JSON, what we're going to do is we're going to get the JSON data in the form of nested data, right? So we want to do certain unnesting so that it becomes easy to read. So to do the nesting, what we're going to do is, we're going to perform certain activities here. So if I see here, so now we're going to write a query which will unnest the data that is available from this transaction table, right? And then determine the count of orders and line items, right? So we have object like if you see here, we have the column or keys in the JSON, like orders and line items. So we're gonna see how many counts are there, right? And that is exactly we're gonna do it in the next two commands. So, and which is nothing but it is performing like a nesting only. All right. Okay, fine. So first, let's try to see how many counts of orders are there, right? And then we're gonna go for the counts of line items as well. So there are the two separate commands, by the way. So let me try to run, rewrite this one as select and then say count. So count. So basically, this query editor is really nice. It actually gives you the predictions that you can use it, right? You don't need to use any market available clients to talk to the cluster here. You can use the built-in query editor, which is basically the SQL client that you can use it to talk to the command here. So first one, let's try to unnest the order and count it, how many orders are there. So let me, if I run this one. So from we're basically doing a count. It's not a count, it's count. Probably it does something else. Okay, that is not I wanted. I wanted count. So we're gonna choose a count, and then let me try to run the command, that is count it. So right now it has a 72 orders. Similarly, we're gonna have the line item orders. Basically, number of line item orders. By running this command, there are 251 line item orders are there. Okay, now this is what we have done. Finally, let's try to run another command. what is it going to do is, it's going to get the full data set of customers, orders, line item details, and then execute a query which can extract this data from each level in the nested hierarchy. All right. So we're gonna get the the informations around customers, orders, line items, details, right? So if you want to get those data in a proper format, right, in a one shot. So how do we do that? So that is basically this command is going to help us. So a little bit of complex here, so but I'm going to help you here. So what we're going to do is select the data JSON, from that get a customer key, convert into a int type, then JSON, the phone number, make it as a varchar, then the account balance, likewise, then the order information. So in the order we want the order status, then the line item, that is SIF mode, right? Similarly, the extendable, basically, extended price as well in the decimal. So from where we are doing this, we want to do it from the single table, that is transaction, and we are basically abbreviating it, nothing but making that transaction table acronymed as T, right? And then from the T we want to get the T dot um, T dot data underscore JSON dot C order equal to O. We are calling it as a O, and that is being used. And similarly, line items is used as L. Right, so that is basically making the lengthy column name into a short name, and the lengthy table name into a short name. So that is what we are using it here, and just running a select query, which will get this information, that is get the full list, full data set of customer, order, line items data. So this is the query is basically converting. So if I can export it into a CSV or JSON, CSV is the best one, because JSON is, looks like there is an error here, because it says the exporting result set to be disabled. So yeah, something the in the configuration I have not marked it to export it, so that's the result is throwing the error. But now you basically unnested a very big JSON file into the readable format, and then this is basically purely, if we converted unstructured data or semi-structured data into the structured data, and that constitute of the customer information, order information, exactly. So this is what I wanted to show you in this section, that is the first section, right? Now we're going to go for the next section to learn about load the JSON data with the shredding. So we're going to talk about what is shredding and how to load the data with the shredding in the next part of this particular video only. Now we're gonna talk about how to load the JSON data with the shredding, right? So in some use cases, the top level JSON data does not change often, and even your ETL process does not need to incorporate new fields, right? That is added at the top level. So in these cases, you can or basically we can use the auto option with the option to ignore cases parameters to load the JSON data in the field, right? So here we're going to see how does we are shredding and then loading a proper data into the Amazon Redshift cluster, and this is the next part of this particular tutorial that we're going to learn it here. So I'm not going to use the same table here, so we're going to create a table that includes a field from the list, from the first level of the JSON document. So the JSON document is nothing but it's the same document we are playing with now. So we are trying to shed those unwanted data and try to load it. Okay. So for that case, we are creating a table called transaction underscore shred, which means it will shred the unwanted data. Right. So that is customer key. You see that it has a customer key, phone, account balance, and order. So we're going to create this particular table by running this command. So I'm running this command to create a table, and we got the table ready here in the left hand side, and we're going to go to the next one. So the next command is to copy with the shredding. So let's see what it does. It's the same transaction. We are going to learn it here, but a little bit of learning here and there. So here I should show you the another table that got populated, that is called transaction shed. Right now it does not have any data, so now we're going to load the data once more using the copy statement. So we have the copy statement here, and but this time with the auto option, which will cause the data to be loaded in the fields which matches the column names in the JSON objects, right? So the column mapping will be use case sensitive match based on the ignore cases. So this command is, if you see this command and the difference between the previous command, right? So here we said no shredding, right? Don't remove the unwanted. Now here we are adding called auto ignore cases as well. So that is the only change we're going to do it. So when I run this particular command, that is copy to this table, that is transaction shed, from where? From this particular JSON file, and use the IAM role that we have studied earlier. So the bucket belongs to a US East region, and then JSON shredding, it is to shed the unwanted data. Right, so that is what we just cite here. Now in the next command, what we're going to do is we try to get a full data set of the customer. So basically we want to get all data of the customer's order, line items, details from the things that we have loaded, right? So if you want to see what is there here, from that particular bucket, we can see it right now. So let me try to do a star select star from transaction said, right? So it's not a transaction underscore shred. So if I run this command, it's a small letter. So if I run this command, we should see what is there inside this particular command, right? Inside this particular bucket. So when I load it with the auto ignore case, let's see what it contains basically. Here you go. So it contains, the top level shredding, right? And then it is, adding these many data, right? So now we're gonna play with this data a little bit, see how we're gonna do that. So now to run this command, I want to get, if you see here, I want to get all the data that is present under the order like that. Let's how to do that by running this particular command. So the next command does that basically. So instead of directly getting this rough data, so we're going to get you some extended columns as well, and that actually unnest this particular order data as well. So with that, let's try to see how we can do it. So one is, we are getting the customer key as usual, phone number as usual, because if you see that, in the earlier, without shedding, we used to get double quotes and all. So that is, that is a benefit of, that is a disadvantage of using auto, right? But in ignore cases, so we have that benefit, when loading from the, when loading from the JSON file, or from a reference of a file, right? And then balance is, it is basically by default, it is coming as a decimal, right? And then we are basically unnesting this one. So if you see here, from the shed table, we marking it as a T, and from the T we want to get the C underscore order, and then make it as a O, and from the O I want to get the order line items, and that is you mark it as a L, right? And then this is where we are populating it. So we have the order status as varchar, line item shift mode varchar, line item extended price decimal of 18 digit, like that, right? So now if I run this command, we're going to get a nice, nice structured output, that is structured SQL output, SQL column table output is been given here. So that is basically, how we're going to use the shredding in the JSON format, loading a JSON data with the shredding. Now we're going to do a little bit of parsing as well. So what we do is, we're going to pass the JSON documents to a super columns. So this is a little bit of complex version of the next two commands that we're going to learn it here. So I have a ready-made command, by the way. As I said, promised I'm going to share this command in the video's description. You can find it. Now what we can do is, we can insert or update a JSON data into a super column using the JSON parse function. So we're going to use a JSON parse function that you see it here. This function, what it does is, it passes the data into the JSON format and converts into a super data types, which we can use it to insert or update the statements. So this includes the validating the JSON documents, etc. Right? So the first command that we're going to play here is, which will actually insert a new customer order into the transaction shred table. So insert into the transaction shred table, and then values are nothing but these are the values, right? And passing it into the JSON format. So we are using a function, built-in function called JSON parse, right? So JSON parse, these are the syntaxes we're going to use it here. So in the JSON parse, we have the order status column, we have the clerk, we have the line items being here, right? So this is basically inserting a new customer order into the transaction shed table. So let's try to run this command and let's see what it happens. So since it is, it is, it is basically to pass the the JSON object into this particular table. So probably we're going to hit an error. Here it goes. So it has hit the error because JSON parse function detects some malformed JSON documents as well. So that's the reason it is throwing the error. We can ignore that. But we go to the next one, that is basically remove the unneeded commas at the end of the JSON and try to insert it. So let's try to remove that unneeded commas here at the end. So what is the change between this command and the above command is very simple. So if I go here from the top to bottom, so we are basically inserting into this particular transactions underscore thread. Table values are from here, that is, this is the values 1 2 3 4 5, this is the one, this is exemplary data, and then we are actually parsing this JSON into little bit of needed things, right? And here is where we are changing certain things. So let's try to run this one and see if this works. This is a little bit of a very lengthy query, so no need to go a little bit of in details and try to understand it. When I share it, you can look into this one. So basically we are has the line items. Line item has a lot of key value pairs. It has the the return flags, receipt date, tax, shift mode, supply. So there are a lot of things are there. Similarly, order, ODU, ship, order related informations are also there. So that is what we did it now. So basically after running this particular command, so what we did is we removed the comma that we there at the end of the JSON, right, and try to insert it. So looks like insertion has gone green because it has not thrown any error, right? And then now we gonna do next one more thing. We're gonna do it before I do run the next command. Let's try to see select star. Okay, so what happened to this my table? I want to see that. So let's do a select star from. So select star from table called transaction thread. So I'm going to use this as transaction thread and run this particular command. So I'm running this multi commands file in a single. So looks like the file didn't change it. It remained same. So I just wanted to give the view of how does it looks, right? So now we're going to go to the next command. So next command is basically to remove. We have done the remove. The next one is to update the row you just inserted to add a new line item from the orders. So we're going to add a new line item to the orders by running this command. That is basically update this particular table, set the C order, nothing but we're going to set the C order by using the JSON parse functions. And JSON parse functions, it's going to have the line item orders, these many columns. All right, so let's see if it does that basically. So what we're going to do is we played with the certain queries. Now this query will actually pass the JSON and actually updates the data, right? So let's see, we're gonna see if it works as expected. So I'm gonna run this query in front of you. So what we are doing is we are updating this particular row. So row, where is the row we are updating? We are updating the row which has the customer key equal to 1234, right? And looks like it got updated basically. And we just updated with this particular JSON parse command. And now before I run this command, let's try to run the command called select star and see how does it looks, so that I show you from the beginning. So let me say from transaction thread. So transaction thread, is it a small letter? Yes, it's a small letter. So select star from this transaction thread and see what is there now in this particular table after doing an update row. So we performed an update row where customer key equal to 1. So where customer key equal to 1234, you see that it got updated. It has made some data insertions. Now finally we try to make read this particular entire table. How are we reading? We want to read that table in our required format. So to do that, finally let's try to get the full data of the customer's orders and line items details by running this the lengthy command. So let the command is nothing but it retrieves the customer information, order information, and timeline information as well. And then here is the command, that is select the customer key, phone name, account balance, and then we're gonna so you see that we have the table called transaction underscore thread as T, and then T dot orders, that is basically C customer orders as O, And then from this is one we want to get the line items. So if I can expand it, I don't know, I can, if I can expand it, you can, so that you can see it here. So here there is a one, each record has a basically an object, and the object has a key called uh, o line item. So we want to get that. So again, o line item key has a values that is again a big items, right? So that is nothing but we want to make it as a line item. So that is what the line item it talks about. Now the line item dot shift mode as varchar, line item as extendable, extended price as decimal, then the line item as line number as int, right? So we want to get that, and then order by the customer ID. So basically just order by this customer key. So that is the logic behind this particular command. So now here is the nice view of the JSON, right? So JSON was really unreadable format, and this was very helter and skelter, and we cannot perform any kind of analytics in this particular file until you do a very big the programming thing. But with this particular Amazon Redshift cluster, we were able to perform this particular the loading and the querying thing that we have done on a semi-structured data that is as an example JSON file. Now you see that the final the command that we built, it is giving a nice result, right? So you can easily export it here into the CSV or JSON. So JSON is not allowed because I have enough disabled it, but you can do this one, right? Yeah, you can have the chat as well, view as well. So if you want to see, you can see it like this, right? Everything. So that is all possible, that you can do it here on your very big lengthy JSON data of your business. So you see that now I showed you two different things, right? One is using the shredding, the other is using the auto mode, right? And both are giving the required result, if you see here, right? And getting a different insights. Okay, so earlier table mapping had a different ORU. The later table that we constructed, it has a different view. All right, so with that note, I have shown you the things need to be shown in this lab session, that is how to load the and then query the semi-structured data in Amazon Redshift with using Redshift query editor.